have shown their best, really, throughout this stage thus far. So keen to jump into this one. And joining me on the mic, it's been a while, it is the lovely James Devmar Stewart, the international APAC extraordinaire. How are you?
Thank you, Mickey G. It's my pleasure to be here with you. I feel like it has been a hell of a long time since we got on that mic together. Yes. When was it? When was the last time we shared a microphone?
It definitely wasn't this, but I still have flashbacks to our first Pro League broadcast.
Oh.
And you said, "Hey guys, it's great to have you here. How are you?"
And what did you say?
Good. that sentiment is still shared now. I still feel the same, don't worry.
An accurate adjective to describe this game as well. This should be a good game. Crest and Northampton both fighting for the #1 spot in their group, fighting to be 1 BO3 away from the major. And as we see the vetoes go through, the operator vetoes, we've talked a lot about disruptors, right? It's Ying and Dockerby, these two heavily disruptive operators, these very execute-heavy operators. And Dockerby also great for that roam clear. They're gone. That leaves Thatcher, Maverick, and all the hard breach you could possibly want still in and available for the attacking side.
Hibana as well, right? Like, literally all the great operators to have classically here on Clubhouse. I mean, the meta is shifting a little bit more. It's only becoming more and more modernized over time, this particular map, but still some great tools available to the attack themselves. It's not like the defense is going to be completely starved. That said, as Army off the board, will keep things interesting and hopefully a little less frustrating for attack James, because we have seen a lot of his Army played all over the world. Saw it a lot at SI, seeing it a lot in Stage 1, and she is just completely oppressive in this current meta, so
you told me
not expecting that to change.
The career show yesterday, right? The D+ versus Panthera game was just something else with that as Army, right?
Oh,
it was a farm, and D+ absolutely loved it. Now, something I'm seeing here straight out of the gate is 6 impact grenades on the Northampton side. Now, typically, you mentioned the Hibana, right? The reason you would ban that out is because it enables you to restrict this hatch play, right? Hibana is the best hard breacher for hatches. Funnily enough, she's actually not been brought here at all, so we're looking at, without any secondary hard breach gadgets from the Buck, it's going to be Thermite and Ace to blow hatches here. Is there like a mistake? I don't know, this seems like a very strange operator lineup on the attack. Also, 2 missed EMPs onto the Electric Claw. I'm gonna say it, the #1 team in this group is looking really, really poor right now, as Crest struggle with some of the basics here on Club.
In a weird way, I almost see that as a win though, because you use an exothermic there that leaves you like for 1 ulcer, and then you're trying to use Summers on the hatch, that's easily going to get tricked. So I don't know, in a weird way, I actually don't mind that for Crest that it doesn't land, because they can use that exothermic somewhere, which I think is going to be a lot more valuable.
Blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it also depends, like, what's the hold above like, right? Doesn't look like it's really that formidable. The hatch is open.
There's no way! They brought 6 impacts! They brought 6 impacts, guys, and they could not get the hatch denied. Now, Nina, that star frag for Northampton opens up the equation, coming down red stairs. And that's Choppy going down as well, so that kind of sneaky knock. But hang on a second, they've snuck inside.
Well, it's a weird old round to kick things off, and it's a 3 versus 3, and it should be in the post for Declare. He falls off, taken down. Northampton fighting their way back into this round, but I mean, it must be said, they were probably on the front foot from the very beginning. Sloppy, messy from Crest. And unfortunately, Lua, who is stranded up above, now forced down main. The double barricade will be dealt with. Ace Roller to feed him information. It wasn't that long ago they were preparing for a plant, but now it almost looks like they're preparing for an execute.
My God, what a round. What an exchange of affairs. A great gas aggressively thrown by Feebar. That diffuser as Ace Roller spots Cold on the ground, but he also spots that player of Nina hiding behind the green boxes at dummies. 40 seconds left on the trot. There's a bit of time to work with, but the numbers are not there, and the execute potential is looking pretty grim.
You've got to isolate picks, and nothing presenting itself at the moment. One missed pick, all feed showing. The flash of the land, that's good from Ace Roller. Lua, well, lured into a false sense of security. Moto to cut him down. Diffuser may be recovered. Well, not even that. Northampton claiming round 1.
Nice defense there, and a very strange round, Guz. There are a few other words we could use to describe it. Crest originally looking pretty scary because they didn't bring a Hibana. Turned out not to be a problem. They got the kitchen hatch open, no worries. Northampton didn't juggle it with the impacts like we expected. And then it looked to be an attempted rush, which was denied. The plant fell off of, and it just fell to pieces for Crest. Now moving into their second attack, I'm going to be a little bit more confident for them on these other bomb sites, guys, because that Azami is banned by Northeption. Now, particularly if we end up going to cache CCTV, which I wouldn't be surprised if these teams elect to just forego completely, the lack of Azami on those rafters, on that defense, is so difficult on the defensive side. So I think Crest is probably going to have a little bit more luck as they ease their way into the game.
Yeah, totally agree. I think top floor in general is really hard, and while that applies to almost every site, right? Bedroom, you're directly defending. CCTV, again, directly defending. Plus rafters. You even then think about the option of bar. We've seen the Japanese teams previously attempt it with heavy holds up above, and I'm pretty sure that was even with Azami available, and it still fell apart. So Azami just completely shifts the way in which the map is played out, and does increase the difficulty factor for the defense. So Northeption will be taking every round in this half worth its weight in gold. Honestly, I would go as far as to say 2 rounds here on the defense would be more than enough to be able to survive the second half. I don't anticipate this game to be heavily attacker-sided, but we've seen stranger things. And in fact, across the board, Japan quite even on a lot of maps. A bit cleaner here, though, early on from Crest. Pennell's wall opened up. No need for EMPs, so they won't be left astray like they were in the previous round, but much like the last round, Northeption not really wanting to contest that. We'll see whether or not they're able to deny wall 2, but it's really only the mute available to fulfill that role.
Here, this is about the execute for Crest. That's why they've brought this Ossa, this Glaz. Haven't shaped up for a positional execute as of yet, though, as the Hibana is looking to get to work on this bathroom wall. Few jammers are making it a bit awkward, but that's why Ossa's brought the baby EMPs. Player, though, aggressive in the hallway. Difficult for the denial. Whiskey's actually just going to go and look to trade it. That is absolutely worthwhile there for Whiskey, losing a couple Hibana pellets, but finding Saya-chan in the meanwhile.
Seeing the power of the Talon shields now on display. 90 seconds remaining in the round, and the groundwork from Crest actually pretty solid, and with the advantage, you would back them in now to be able to convert this round and get their first on the board. Power now in the hands of Northeption to respond with a play of their own. The lurk down below from Nina, actually, in that strip hallway that may be met by Choppy inside of bar. The DevMarta special just lurking around, baiting the rest of the team. Oh, I thought he was going to get caught off.
That's a DevMarta special right there,
I don't know
mate.
about that. Definitely no DevMarta about that shot.
Lovely start there from Choppy. He lurked in the first round, was the first to fall. Now he's found an opener. And he is playing below with the nades, so Gaz, I'm sure you wouldn't understand this depth of strategy, the knock player. But from the rest of Crest, it's an entry and an execute.
Oh, definitely would be playing the Glaz, I can tell you that much. 4v2. Northeption backs against the wall, literally. Faber taken low through the footholes, cleaned up. Well, that was a decent response from Crest.
Don't mind that. A bit of a flood. And on the back of their pick, they had the information on these few players in sight. A collapse primarily through the breach, including the Glaz with the smokes. And the Hibana dropping down through logistics. They just went deep. They found out these final positions of these players. They cornered them. They put them down. They didn't even need to plan.
Well, certainly a cleaner round across the board there for the attack, and Crest not making near as many mistakes as they did last time, and just genuinely really outplaying Northeption. We framed it right. It was going to be a tough site to defend regardless. Plus the Azami ban, it's really, really rough, and we did see Northeption try to shake it up a little bit. We saw a couple of lurks, etc. through the mid-round, but again, cut down. Crest looking sharp.
I'm a bit scared here for Northeption. They are going to cache CCTVs. They're changing it up despite there being no Azami in play. I think this bomb site is a real challenge to defend without her. And though we do have the Wamai and the Jaeger to catch a lot of projectiles if someone is playing that Raptors position, CGL have got that Montaigne. As you can see, the repick from Eclair. It's going to be really difficult to defend against this Monty. Usually you can put one of those Azami keeper barriers on the stairs of Rafters, and it just prevents that Monty from walking up while shielded. Now, I mean, that's not the case, right? And if you've got the Monty walking up the stairs, you've got no traps, like no frost, no lesion, nothing to deal with it. You've got the smoke. It's just about the only Monty counter you've got. Otherwise, you're relying on the impacts from the Wamai, which really are no sure bet against the Montaigne.
Groundwork, though, will still need to be done by Crest. Main breach pressure essential in making sure that that Rafters player is nullified and can't get back towards site. But maybe it's a complete shift here from Crest. They're currently posturing over towards Kuzi, so indicative of maybe a com push here from the Monty. Again, it's not out of the question. I wouldn't say that it's significantly, definitely not worse than a garage push, but it is slightly different. We wouldn't anticipate it. I wonder if Northampton will, though. Pulse in play, some information will no doubt be available through the mid-round here. Well, actually early on in the round. Jarreep, bottom main, just lurking and can see those heartbeats from below.
Yeah, the real scary thing now for Crest, which they won't be aware of, is the potential for C4s, right? Through bar, through the ceiling that goes into Master. If a lot of these Crest players are hanging around, they will be vulnerable to that pulse below. Also, just like the info gathering helps the rest of the Northampton players restructure their position. Wow, okay, so successfully deploying an exothermic charge on top of a mirror window. That's quite unusual. I'm surprised that Northampton didn't spot that, open the mirror, and shoot out the exothermic. I would rather, as a defender, have an open mirror window instead of a full breach.
Here's the threat, though. Looming.
Ooh, here we
the
go.
response. But it just didn't do much damage, right?
10 HP.
It's something, but the question will be, is it enough? A player can just sit and wait. You can also play for information. That portable drone, which can't be taken down. 45 seconds, and on now being opened up.
My
Get your gun
God!
out! What was that? Crosses with the Selma in hand, could have gotten a kill, given a second chance, doesn't land that one either, but fortunately his Thermite, his counterpart will. There is a response, he's taken down, and you know what? You deserve that. That was something else, but it doesn't count for much as Northampton fall. It's just Sharif down below, information, he comes into the Montaigne, no doubt going to die, but not initially. It's a knife, it's an opportunity, no nitro, but he might land the shot, no. The grenade to nullify. And I don't know what's in the water, Dev, but these last couple of rounds have been something else.
Is this Rainbow6 or is this a sitcom? Because that is the most hilarious round I've ever seen. Like, from hilarity to hilarity. It was, you know the Benny Hill music? I feel like that needed to be like...
I was literally about to say that. Literally about to say, like...
He peeks with a Selma out. He peeks with a Selma out to take out the mirror. There's a player peeking him, and that player keeps peeking him, and he keeps looking without aiming down sides. And then to add insult to injury right at the end, right? You got this 360 knife from the Pulse player. Like, what on earth is this game?
Jeez. Only the third game of the night as well. I don't know if I'll make it through. This is
guys,
already...
if we get more rounds like that, good luck on the play-by-play. Honestly, I'm happy to give it over to you. Good luck.
I'm being tested right now. I'm being tested. But no doubt competitive thus far in this game. We anticipate those top floors to be so tough. It shouldn't be easy to defend, and that's exactly what took place. So, looking at basement now, I would honestly pencil this in as one of the most important rounds here for Northampton. They want to get 2 rounds at least on defense, and no better chance than down below here, and then open up a window of opportunity to perhaps sneak one from one of the 2 sites up above or even far. In terms of lineups, though, for this particular round, we do see that Warden now come online. Fortunately, though, for Crest, they don't pick into that, right? They're not playing the game, they're not playing the smoke, certainly.
Never underestimate the ability for a gunner to do some work with the 1.5 on the Warden. I think it was you saying the other day to me, like, hey, we're just going to be playing some people who are going to just chuck their best player on Warden and go and frag out. And, you know, the sister, the brother to that is the Oryx, right? You got another 1.5x on a fantastic fragger, and it's actually Nina, who is one of the best players in the league, who is very keen to go for a run out here. Lua is on the rappel. That Lion does lock him in place.
He'll be quite the jog out, though, if he wants to claim the kill. And Lua is aware, and he lands it. Oh, that is so sharp. It's almost like he knew perhaps there was some information. Either way, Nina nullified. As you said, one of the best players in the league in the trade. The delayed attempt from Sharif. Now once denied. bit of presence still on this roam, but unfortunately for Northeption, that is not the best of starts on a site, an objective that you especially want to win in this matchup.
But still, Sharif is continuing to be aggressive here on this roam. Hasn't given up as of yet. Here's the sound of the barricade breaking on the master window, and so goes for that aggressive peek to claim Acerola's life. A big player to take down, and he's well and truly done his job up here. Continuing to be a nuisance with 2 minutes wasted off the clock.
Choppy. Damage lands, but unfortunately not enough to send Sharif to the grave. I think he'll continue to lurk above. No. Oh, actually, is that him in CC?
Yep.
The outline doesn't deceive. He is currently in CC. We can hold down the line. Shots exchanged a long way away from start, but this engagement could flip the tide for Crest. 30 seconds. They quickly now need to convert this to sight.
Great usage of the E1D, though. That really did lock out that defender in place and enable Whiskey to get the drop on him. But now it's prevented that E1D from being available in the execute.
Warden, this is your time. Swing. No! He sprints! Caught off guard. The Legion as well! Where are you looking? The 4v1 again, and Crest convert.
Why are you sprinting?
Literally!
As a great man once said.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was quite a lockout there from Crest. 3 attack rounds in a row, guys. And well, you got to credit Northeption. These roams, that round was particularly impactful. And yeah, just so many micro mistakes. I mean, it's so hard to know, right, for Northeption. But I think this must be just like a lot of anchors overthinking it in their situations. Not realizing, hey, there might have been a player that's pushed up from Oil Pit, right? There could be a player already in blue, swinging past him. I don't know who that second defender was, but completely unaware of the player that was coming around the corner. Like, really should have been, had just heard the gunfire. So, I don't know if these guys need to check their headphone batteries or something, but a bit frazzled, it seems, so far.
Put the headset on backwards.
I've actually done that once. It's so painful, right? So I've got these like in-ears and they're detachable from the cable. So I plugged in like the right in-ear to the left cable end. And it was so trippy, right? Because when you listen to the menu music or whatever, or even like just normal songs, you can hear it like as normal, you don't realize anything wrong. And then as soon as you get in game and there's someone shooting to your left and you're looking to your right, it is bamboozling.
Have you done that for every game this season? Or
Oh,
that was a one-off? Yeah, the late rounds here have just been something else. I don't know what is in the water. Like, it's actually been ridiculous. Players caught sprinting. Trades left, right, and center. The odd roam here or there. Match really does have everything, and you can almost sense the pressure, right? Maybe that's what is really pushing these teams over the edge. Now, we don't see the reattempt from Northeption. They'll head up above. Crest will posture over towards Garage, and the Monty has been stuck, despite this objective being locked in. How will they leverage that in this round? Oh, well, Ace Roller, he'll play no further part, taken down over towards the con window.
Really like that aggressive play, read into the fact that the sledge would likely be coming in to clear out that castle, so played in a position so as soon as the castle dropped, he could take the fight to the sledge while he was still putting his hammer back onto his back. And now the Monty continues to take map control here. So a bit of ground forfeited for Northeption, but they have the pick, so nothing to be concerned about as of yet in my eyes. Thing is, this Jacuzzi breach is not open as of yet, and there's 2 bandit batteries sitting right there on it. Ace is completely out of his own breaches. It's just the Monty's secondary hard breach available should they go for it.
Well, Barbwire's not really going to do a whole lot to dissuade Claire from pushing this position. The gas canister will, and he elects to vault back in towards Con. Lure just lurking over towards balcony position, and without his army in play, you can just see how many more angles now are exposed. Claire looking to pinch these players, force them back into that line of sight. But the smoke just delaying the inevitable with a minute on the clock.
Yeah, the real scary thing here is that there's just no breach from Crest. They really could have dedicated some of their hard breach to opening up that main Jacuzzi wall, but instead, They're going to have to fight through this defensive setup. Feebar finds one, but Eclair is able to trade in the 3v3 now. Crest are starting to tighten their grip on the bomb site.
Clean kills from Crest, but Northeption tidy up. They have the advantage with 30 seconds. Troppy needs to trade, but caught on the vault. The worst timing as Lua now. The 1v3 attempt with 20 seconds on the clock. Northeption, despite not re-attempting down below, will find the round.
This dude is insane. He peeks into the pre-fire and still wins the fight. I would be chalked if I lost that as the guy pre-firing. Northeption got Nina on their side, finally firing up 6-3 at the moment. Still a far cry from the, 16 kills in the opening match on this very map, in fact. Crest played. Northeption played. And Crest now still have the potential to win this half on their attacking side. Now, guys, holistically, Japan League is defensive favored, and Clubhouse is no exception. 56% on the defense to 44, so it's not by a huge margin, but it is enough to warrant a 3-3 at minimum on your defensive side. So that's what Northeption are really gunning for here. They need to win this round. Otherwise, Crest, moving on to their defensive, will definitely be favored.
I guess the question for that would be, is 56 fair in the Azami meta? Would you say that it should be more, it should be less, especially in this match where it's banned?
That is a tough question. See, I don't have the stats breaking down which of those games had Azami and which of them didn't. So if I had that, I would have a comment on that. But yeah, I don't know. You do make a great point though, Michael. I think without that Azami, it's much more difficult to defend these top 4 sides. But it could certainly be a lot easier to attack them if Crest opened up more of the external walls onto these sides.
Sure. I don't know who this Michael guy is that you're talking about. It must be the voices in your head.
Sorry, Mickey G.
I hate you.
I know.
In a good way. There's gonna be people in chat that have already typed, why do these casters hate each other? It's just a joke.
Yeah, but
we are Australian,
Mickey G
we
does
love being
upset me.
sarcastic.
But if you do upset me too much, I won't let you use my car park next time you come over.
Well, if you upset me, I'll just go quiet and not talk like I did in that match the other day.
Okay. Well, we're not going to be able to use that excuse here because we do have a game to cast. And like I was saying before...
Whoa, there's a player on the wall. And it's soft. Hello? Sled? There we go. But still a trade? What is going on in this game?
That is something else. I tell you what, that is something else. Acerola is going to be so upset about that one. I don't know whether they had droned it out prior or what, but Shuri can't be too upset about that one. He got his one.
Spot onto that camera under the lamp. I'll be stealing that one next time I play Velk. Well, I guess it was still spotted out, but IQ on the board, so a great counter in that regard. 4v4, minute 30, con control for the Monty. The CC attack on the agenda here. Northeption, they'll need to withstand this push. Very similar attacking pattern from what we saw last time.
And once again, the mirror window not popped by the defense, which does enable that Thermite to deploy the exothermic. And in comes the Aces Selmas to clear out the other mirror window. Now this could be shot off, but there's no defenders in a position to do so. So that's both mirrors countered very effectively and quickly by Crest.
What's the play here? A turtle plant potential here for Eclair. Nina down below can also play spoils with a Nitro. Options are plenty for both teams, but it's Lua to find a killer. Nina just shooting the shield. Nitro goes up. Does absolutely no damage, and now compromises this plant position for Northeption. They fall one by one. Lua with a great entry, and Crest able to lock out the half.
That was super well played by Crest. As soon as the telltale sounds of that MPX rang out by the Valkyrie, trying to shoot that Monty up through the hatch, you saw that Monty just send it straight on forward, no hesitation, and Crest sprung into action. They were not afraid whatsoever. As soon as they say, okay, it's a 4v3, one player's downstairs, let's just rush these guys on site. It's a pretty safe bet that one of those guys is on rafters, and so they made sure not to be too vulnerable to that position. I think it was the player top red that they managed to pick, and by that time, I mean, all bets were off. It was a simple lockout for Crest. And they've won their attack 4-2, which in my eyes is pretty big. They didn't even need to use that Hibana on their basement attacks either. Northeption really have their work cut out for them.
I just can't believe they didn't go basement and reattempt it.
Yeah.
The option was available. They elected to go twice up above, and it didn't pay off. It's not to say, again, that basement's a free win, but I can only assume it would be easier with that Izami being off the board. There's just so many more angles exposed up above.
Yeah, well, the proof's in the pudding, right? You know, they won one of their 2 attempts on Church Arsenal, whereas they didn't win any of their attempts on CCTV. So, yeah, strange to me that they wouldn't choose to reattempt it. But now Crest move on to their defense, and I'm pretty optimistic in the operator lineup. We're actually, funnily enough, seeing 6 impacts again, Guz, this time from Crest, right? So, Choppy is foregoing the C4 you'd mostly see on the Valk in favor of these impacts. And Acerola is foregoing the shield you would often see in favor of impacts as well. I just hope they're actually ready for it, because Northeption were not ready to trick that hatch.
Yep. Someone really should be tasked with babysitting that hatch the entire round to at least make sure that the initial pellets are denied and then rotate plays in or out as required from that point onwards. Kennel's opened up here for the attack, so Northeption wanted to take down control, and it's actually the Buck to find the first. Acerola caught off guard. Alibi, I presume, on the roam, and you could see that corpse laying at the top of main stairs. So that's a great little pick for Northeption to find, and a momentum builder in this round.
I don't know whether Nina is just cracked on club, or if this is a player that other Japanese teams should be looking at. If Northeption are not able to progress further than the Japan League, if they're not able to make it to a major, I definitely expect Nina to be getting some offers in the coming stages. But for now, of course, focus on the here and now. Northeption do have the chance to go to the major, though they are fighting from behind here, trailing as they move on to their attack. They have the opening pick and looking to put this pressure now onto Crest. Next stop would be opening up these hatches. Now, the stock and bar hatches have these electric claws on them, and there's actually no way from Northeption to deal with that. They don't have any EMPs of any kind. They don't have the Maverick, so they'll need to focus on this kitchen hatch. But we talked about that. Lots of impacts. Still 4 remaining. They're actually going to try and nade off the electric claw, and it hasn't got it. So that's an unfortunate happenstance there for Northeption.
We've entered the time machine, James. It's 2020 again. I remember that nade. A favorite amongst attacking teams back in the day of the util meta. You would even sometimes have the Jaeger stacked up in Roto to counter that, right? But yeah, it just doesn't land. Unfortunate for Northeption.
But they did get
it is a
hatch
4v3.
open. Yeah, well, 4v3 as Shurip has finished off Lua from Blue Stairs, but doesn't have that hatch open, so there's so much mobility now for the defenders. But I think that Crest now, they are in the deficit. 2 versus 4 as Northeption have an opening.
Claire now forced to make a play. The 1 versus 3, so 2 players to cover the plant. Faber halfway through. Claire halfway through his swing, but then backs out. Well, he's on an island now, well and truly. Buck, aggressive. Perhaps should have been punished, but nonetheless a convincing round from Northeption.
No, Nina doesn't lose those, guys. Nina does not lose those. And, well, what an attack there from Northeption. Maybe you're right, guys. Maybe this is shaping up to be an attacker-favored game. There was no right there for the attack to have such an advantage there. 2 hatches still remained closed. I'm not entirely sure why that kitchen hatch was able to be open while there were still 3 impacts up and available for the defense. I expect that the Buck and Sledge put enough pressure on that the defenders weren't comfortable going for those impact juggles. But funnily enough, we're also seeing now Crest abandon the basement completely and go up to this gym bedroom bomb site.
I mean, look, to be fair, if you are keeping those hatches open, the 2 secondary hatches, and then you're still not finding success, maybe that actually is a decent reason to rotate. And the trend has been for the last couple of years where 3 attempts are actually pretty few and far between, especially if the round isn't particularly close. So it is hard to be critical, but again, I just don't think that these top 4 are going to garner much success. But we'll have to wait and see. Plenty of good tools available to the defense. Of course, Bandit can bounce or juggle on that wall with that util. Goyo also available and could be critical on a site which can be time sensitive.
Shuri must have some good pre-placed drones here. His teammates are calling off of. Couldn't actually see anyone clicking the cameras though from the overlay, so I don't know if I'm crazy or what. You can now see Sharif is checking for extra info now with the Gemini, just clearing. I mean, this is a very quick and dirty job of clearing it, but has checked now lounge clear as the main breach of CCTV is open. And look at the very swift abandon from Crest. They've fallen off cash already, 40 seconds into the round.
Yep, not wanting to mess around. Often we will see defenders create a buffer inside of that cache room just to stall out the attack a little bit, to, I guess, pepper away at the drones, which are now filtering through connector.
Ooh. This is cheeky from Lua. Now, Lua from this kitchen window can actually see this balcony of this tiny little balcony where that external wall of con is. Maybe waiting for some kind of sound call that there's a Thermite or a Thatcher over there. Reminder that Thatcher is unbanned, and yet we haven't seen him played yet so far.
30. In terms of the clock, Northampton doing a good job. Now it's about trying to isolate these defenders, force them into some awkward positions again with that Azami not being available.
I didn't realize prior, but the con wall is actually completely reinforced now. As Lua using up his C4 to rotate downstairs. Northampton are really tunneling now, and they haven't breached open this external jacuzzi wall. Those bandit batteries are sitting there vulnerable, nothing to protect them from the window, and yet Northampton yet to breach. There's still a thermite charge in pocket.
And they have a Rotero, they could clear it. It's not going to be difficult. But maybe they're just going to try and crunch sight, but they fall one by one by one. 2 versus 4 as Choppy falls. Yukiz hops into sight. And he'll need to hop around and find a couple of kills, make it 4. Well, yeah, disappointing. Very disappointing from the attack, but Crest, to their credit, they played into the win condition and they shut down that push.
I really don't know what was going on that round for Northampton. I don't know what their idea was, because there were so many obvious tick boxes that they just left for some strange reason unaddressed. It's the second time this game we've seen a team attack that gym bedroom bomb site without breaching that jacuzzi wall, and I don't really have a good reason why, right? Like, it's actually one of the most difficult places to bandit juggle. Even if there was a bandit available and attempting to juggle that against a thermite, you can just sit on that gym window, right? And because you've got CCTV control, you're not getting peeked from that window. There was not even a castle in play that would have made it difficult. Like you said, there were Roteros to clear the bandit batteries. Like, there was 100 different things that Northampton could have done to enable that breach, but instead they fell through the choke point, not just of construction, because logistic was completely reinforced over. It was literally one door from construction into master. They were able to rotate through, and then there was one lurker downstairs that I think got unfortunately timed, but just so many questions and not a lot of answers for me from Northampton. After such a good start on their attack, it's a shame that they fumbled that one.
I get the sense, though, that there's been quite a bit of fumbling in this game. It's been a couple of rounds with some key mistakes, a couple of oversights here or there. Spawn peek, it lands, Lua, aggressive, over towards garage door, and that is the thermite. Of all the players that you don't want to die, it is your hard breach on Clubhouse. That said, there is the backup of the Habana, thankfully. So there's still saving grace for Northampton, but worst case scenario, it is still one less player for that final push.
I'm scared. This is not looking great for Northampton, and so far we've seen a lot of these opening kills converted into round wins. Nina is still up, and he has been a shining light in the fragging department, but really Clubhouse is a util-heavy map, right? It's a breach-heavy map, you know? It's not one that's... I would say a map like Theme Park is really about these choke points and how you can kind of protect and clear those. But Clubhouse is much more one of those maps where it's about this hard breach game, and when you lose one of your hard breaches, suddenly the pressure comes onto Sayachan now, as I believe he has almost successfully opened up the hatch. Still not quite managed to get it done yet. As his X-Kairos are whittling away, now it takes 4 X-Kairos to open a hatch. He's doing them 2 at a time to prevent the impact trick, and he's finally blown it. He does have enough to clear out the other 2 hatches, but not anything for that church wall or for dirt.
Well, thankfully for the attack, there were no impacts, so it does expedite that process a little bit for Northampton, who are looking to scramble their way back into this round. Sharif.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Sitting up over towards blue. Common position to push in the late round, so we'll track him in a moment, of course. Able to drone himself for now, and it's just about this attack. Setting up in positions. Dirt, blue, and probably the hatch drop.
If this dirt presence is impactful, it could be huge, though. Yukiz needs to land this kill. Defender's clearly aware of it. But Whiskey finds the opener. That's the mirror player. Yukiz struggling to connect anything as, well, Northeption falling apart. Yukiz found one, but fell. Low HP now, as Nina has dropped the kitchen hatch. Gets one. Looking for a second, as he is the last man standing. And he doesn't last at all. That's a very swift match point there for Crest.
And it almost feels like it's come out of nowhere. You blink, you miss it. Crest now 1 match point. Northeption have fallen to pieces really in this map. Finding it very, very difficult on the attack. And we thought that maybe it would be attacker-sided, but thus far just the singular one to kick off the half. And from there, Crest dominant in the 2 to follow. 6-3 the scoreline. And Crest putting themselves in a very, very comfortable position now. Finish at the top of Group A, and what a position that would put you in, James. See them straight into that semi-final. There is the curse from Korea that we have mentioned a couple times because both teams that finished first did taper off. But realistically speaking, that's simply a curse and nothing more. You should be the favoured team if you get favourable seeding. Small opportunity, small window of opportunity for Northeption, but they need a 8-6 victory in this game. So they're staring down the barrel of needing 5 rounds straight to top the group.
It's so hard to see it happening, and I'm genuinely surprised, Guz, because these teams have a very rich history going back. Like, these teams are playing each other back in the Japan League 2021. Both of the times they played in that year, you know, it was a really tight 2-1 series. These teams both have been trudging through the Japan League so far and looking far more dominant than anyone expected. Northeption had a recent strong run through the Japan SI qualifiers, or the APAC SI qualifiers. Crest have been, for a long time, a team knocking on the door of APAC North teams. And, well, they are continuing their dominant form here as Choppy finds the opening pick onto the top fragger from the opposition. Nina is down. Shurip is starting his display inside of Garage, but well, it just seems like a matter of time before Northeption struggle to break into this defense.
Oh, it's got a sting. Losing such a key player, such a formidable player in a very important round. Immediately Eclair, a minute in, under significant pressure from the Monty. Main breach, no doubt, now opened up, confirmed by the drone. So Leclerc now needs to be careful of 2 very important positions on this objective, and the Monty is not going to back down.
I mean, Yukiz is trying to back it up, but Shuri, now feeling that gas pressure, starts to fall on back. Only 1 gas left for the smoke player. Actually don't have any nades on the attacking side because Nina fell down. A lot of pressure now on Yukiz. The flashes to come out, and the Monty should be able to confirm the kill. Hang on a second! Eclair had no right winning that, and now Northeption are in absolute shambles.
Well, that's going to be it. That will confirm the map. Crest will be #1 in Group A. A formidable performance against an opposition that really should have put up a better fight. A 7-3 scoreline. Hard to believe that's where we sit. The lead into this game, we thought it was going to be close, but Crest really doing a great job to lock it down on the defensive half.
A far cry from the close game that we expected, Guz, but Crest do remain undefeated in their group. They top, and they go to the semi-final.